Dick Elsy, Chief Executive at the High Value Manufacturing Catapult. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon at the National Manufacturing Debate here at Cranfield University. I'd like to go back to something you mentioned in your talk today about a report that the Catapult recently published, stating the case that the effect of retaining production in the UK was arguably more important than the evidence for reshoring. It's a big question, but how so?
All right. Well, it wasn't a report. This is very much it's a personal view, that's deeply held within the Catapult and very germane to the national manufacturing debate today. It's a rather curious phenomena that the UK, despite rebuilding its economy post the crash, productivity's actually gone backwards. So the G7 nations between 2007 and 2013, their productivity improved by about 5%. Well, ours actually decreased in that space of time. So in a manufacturing context, you'd have to ask yourself the question why, and the conclusion that we've drawn is that the standard rules within manufacturing of continuous improvement, that regular mantra that you get when you're in the office, snatching the odd 0.5% here and there, is not enough anymore to guarantee success. And the only way we're going to compete in the UK on productivity is to make step changes through new technology, and that's absolutely what we do in the Catapult. And that's where the UK is going to be long-term competitive in productivity, is through the application of technology.
And that opinion it was mainly focused and based on the larger tier 1 suppliers. Do you think the case for focusing on retaining production as opposed to reshoring is applicable to those companies further down the supply chain as well?
Absolutely. I'm an ex-car guy, so you've seen the strength of the UK OEM currency. Jaguar Land Rover, what a fantastic story. And interestingly, all of their product is now off their all-aluminium platform, which was itself was an innovation of moving away from steel-based cars to a completely new way of making vehicles, and that's given them huge advantages in performance and lightweight and emissions and all that sort of thing. So they enjoyed a step change through the introduction of a radical new product, but also manufacturing technology. Now, in that space of time where Jaguar Land Rover has grown, then there hasn't been that same growth in the supply chain. And when I first started back in the car industry in the early 80s, there were pretty strong pockets of R&D. So along with the physical plant making brake parts or heaters or think of any car system, there was an R&D base. There were engineers beavering away helping the OEMs. Now we've still got a supply base, but we've lost a lot of the R&D, and of course where the R&D goes, tends to be where the manufacturing goes, because I think increasingly, as we've seen today, that the close proximity of R&D and manufacturing is becoming actually quite important to quick turnaround of products. So absolutely those same rules apply to upskill and bring in the capability of R&D into the supply chain, both at tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 level. And a key part of what we do in the Catapult is to help smaller enterprises with that mission. It's very easy to help the big guys because they just get it and they bring their supply chain with them. But a key part of our mission is to get to smaller companies as well outside of their supply chains to build their capability.
And speaking about this R&D, is it actually happening? Does the UK actually have the technological status and capabilities now to justify a reshoring push, particularly when we're looking at things like creating R&D here with these smaller SMEs as well?
Yeah, well, I think at the top end of the market with the big companies, for sure. And what we've lacked until very recently is a decent supported innovation infrastructure in the UK, for which I mean, if you take a look at Germany, very strong companies, incredibly strong Mittelstand, the mid-sized companies that are the bedrock of German manufacturing. But they've had the Fraunhofer Institutes in place, helping them with the introduction of new technology since 1947. Year-on-year consistency since 1947. Now, we've had the Catapult programme, and ours, the High Value Manufacturing Catapult, was the first. Been going over just over 3 years, and the uptake for our services speaks volumes for us addressing that problem. So market failure in the UK, we've put a mechanism in place, and by Christ, people are moving in fast. I said in this, I was presenting at the National Manufacturing Debate here 2 years ago, and I was not long into the job, and I was proudly saying we've got 431 clients within the Catapult. We're helping. It's well over 1,000 now. You know, it's extraordinary. You know, well, in fact, it's 3 times as much, because we've got 1,500 clients working on over 1,000 projects. And the leverage ratio that we had, you know, I said for every £1 of government funding, we're expected to pull in £1 of collaborative research and development and £1 of commercial income. It's a third model. Well, for every £1 that we're taking from government at the moment to support our programme, £3.70 of innovation income from collaborative projects and the commercial world. So they're getting it, and basically our factories at the moment are full of activity, which is a great sign for the UK.
Absolutely it is. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.